AKASHA Counseling, and welcome to the Counselor Chronicles. Today we have with us Kevin Petersen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me, Ariel. It's
yes.
good to see you again.
So, why don't you tell us again a little bit about yourself and what you're going to be focusing on today?
Sure. I'm a marriage and family therapist. I have a master's in marriage and family therapy from Regis University. I also have a certificate in child and adolescent counseling from Regis University. And what I want to focus on today is parenting and how to deal with your situation with your kid when you're struggling.
Great. So for someone watching this, how would they know that these tips would be helpful to them? What would they want to look for in their relationship with their child or the way things are going?
So I think the primary things that I see coming into my office are when, it doesn't really matter how old the kid is, whether they're 6, 16, 26, whatever. There is just sort of this undertone of belligerence in the relationship and the constant fight and struggle. Parents tend to tell me, I don't feel like I'm being respected. They don't listen. They're not doing what I want them to do. They don't understand. They want to argue every single point.
Yeah, that sounds really challenging.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, the truth is today, too, a lot of folks are single parenting or co-parenting, and so it's even more challenging because what ends up happening is a lot of times when families are split up or parents are split up, there's a certain amount of overcompensation going on or guilt from the parent who feels like, you don't have another parent. I know I work all the time and I feel bad, so they tend to give in a lot, thinking that they're being supportive, and then realizing later down the line that, oh my God, the homework's not getting done, the chores aren't getting done, and I'm not really pleased with the way my child behaves.
Got it. Okay. So what's something you would offer to these parents, something they could walk away with today to start kind of changing that relationship?
Absolutely. So my primary use is Love and Logic. I'm a big fan of the books, and I'm a big fan of the systems. Their big things are boundaries, accountability, and structure. And I always like my clients to start reading them and then come in and we can start talking about how they're implementing the stuff they're learning in the book in the house. My big thing, one of my big first things is stop fighting. There's no more fighting. I don't have to fight with you. My line that I always like to use is when you're fighting with a 10-year-old, who do you think's winning the fight?
Right.
And you don't have to explain yourself, but you do want to use love and compassion, not shame and punitive damage or finger pointing or bullying. You want to say, I love you and I care about you, and these are my expectations. And if they're not going to be met, then the privileges are going to be taken away until the expectations are met. I always try to say, remember what it was like when you've had the best boss you ever had. The best boss I ever had was supportive, nurturing, helpful, and also held me accountable. The worst bosses I've had were hovering, micromanaging, and would constantly sort of smack me what I thought with a little stick on my wrist every time I stepped outside the box they wanted me in. We don't want to be that parent.
Right. So kind of you can still set those boundaries and still communicate expectations, but coming from that loving place instead of punitive or aggressive or shaming.
Absolutely. And, how can I help is really the question you want to ask your kid. And, short of actually doing the homework for them, what you want to do is offer them, let me show you how to do homework. I'll sit with you at the table. Let's make sure we have time. Let's turn off the computers. I find that the Love and Logic system works really well. It only works when the parents aren't consistent.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today, Kevin.
Thank you for your time.